Hey guys, welcome back to the Music Hole. My name is Cole, and today we're going to 2011 to talk about the debut album of Veronica Falls, which is self-titled, and they've got an interesting sound. It's kind of like indie rock, indie pop, with some 60s vocal influence going on, because you've got a really lovely female vocalist and then a backup male vocalist, and they kind of play off each other. So it's a really cool sound. I like the harmonies and the melodies and stuff a lot on this album. But anyway, I'm excited to talk about it. I've got clips lined up as per usual, so let's just jump right in.
Cling to a dream so true, falling for a ghost like you.
Oh my goodness, so track one, right? It's called Found Love in a Graveyard. So we're already kind of starting on a sad note, which you could probably guess from this album cover. It looks kind of run down and sad, you know? And it's in gray and black and white and stuff. But anyway, so in this song, we've got a guy who is in love with someone who just died, essentially. You know, he says, "I'm brokenhearted, dearly departed," but he's found love in a graveyard. So it sounds like he's fixated on this woman who, you know, we don't know how long they were together, but she died for some reason, and he's just unable to get over it, it sounds like, at least for now. So he's found love in a graveyard. You know, he probably visits her grave all the time and puts roses down and stuff. So this poor guy, you know, this poor man, he lost his love. Geez, I hope things get better for him. But that's the first song in the album. It's got a great sound to it, but a little depressing with the lyrics, as I said. So let's see what happens. Let's talk about track number 2, which is called Right Side of My Brain. Yeah, so Right Side of My Brain is a little bit sad. It seems like our man is facing external challenges to his situation, in the sense that maybe people are telling him, like, you need to get over this dead woman. Like, I know you were in love with her, but you know, you gotta move on, right? And there's also a suggestion of something nefarious here. By that I mean, he says, the right side of my brain says that's a lie. So I kind of interpret that as maybe his friends are saying, like, I know that you're your love died, but did you also know that she might have been cheating on you or something? So it sounds like maybe possibly something like that was going on, where like she wasn't the angel that he's making her out to be exactly. I kind of interpret it like that. I could be wrong. But again, just a really fun song. You know, I love the vocal harmonies and interplay going on, as always. But that's all I have to say about it. So let's move on to track 3, which is called The Fountain. So that's The Fountain, and it sounds like this poor woman had some sort of mental troubles with depression, probably. I'm getting the picture from these lyrics that she probably ended her life, right? She probably committed suicide, because he says, I found you in an empty room. You know, how could I know to hold you near when everything I fear is haunting me? So it sounds like he knew that this woman was feeling extremely sad and depressed and was probably suicidal. But I guess there's a part of him that like wasn't willing to face that possibility, right? So it sounds like he didn't do enough to help this girl, and it's really eating him up inside, you know. And the girl, the narrative changes in the second half of this clip, because it begins with the guy's perspective, but then it sounds like it moves into the dead woman's perspective, because as he sings, or as she sings, you know, darling dear, I'm not here anymore. Don't take me back to the fountain. You know, there's nothing left for me and you. So it sounds like we're now in the mind of the woman who is kind of like looking down from heaven, so to speak, right? She's a ghost, and she's looking at this guy who just cannot give her up. You know, he won't move on, and she's just like trying to send energy through the void to this man to just like, you know, to just get him to give her up, right? She's kind of frustrated in her afterlife, right? That this guy won't let her be, won't let her go. So yeah, this song is kind of complicated, but it's another cool sounding song. I like it. But that's all I have to say about The Fountain. So let's move on to track number 4, which is called Misery. Yeah, so we're going deep again. We're going down into the dark well once more, and it sounds like our main character here, our man, on some level enjoys being in misery. And by that I mean, like, it sounds like, he's probably getting attention from family and friends who are like trying to comfort him all the time. And so on some weird, there's some weirdness here where he kind of enjoys it, right? Is what it sounds like, because he says misery is taking over me, misery, my old friend. So I could be interpreting that wrong, but to me it sounds like this guy is kind of enjoying all the sympathy he's getting from other people. So yeah, this guy is kind of weird, right? he needs a lot of help. This poor guy. I hope he gets it together. Jeez Louise. But that's all I have to say about it. So let's move on to the next song. So that's Bad Feeling. And once again, we're in the mind of our main guy character who is trying to remember his love's face, right? He's trying to picture it and he's kind of losing the memory. And maybe it's been such a long time since her death that the memory is so distant now that, as he says, were you even real? So like, it sounds like the only way this guy really is going to get over this woman is for time to pass, for so much time to pass that he literally kind of forgets what she looks like, what she sounds like, and it just feels like another lifetime, right? I mean, this happens to everybody, I would imagine. It happens to me, right, where something happened so long ago that it's almost difficult to think of the fact that, like, yes, this did actually happen to me, this 10-year-old thing or whatever did happen, it was real, So it sounds like maybe on some level he's getting better because he's kind of like forgetting this woman, what she looks like, what she sounds like, and I guess that's the only way he's gonna get over this person. So I guess we're moving along in his life journey a little bit, And again, as always, a really cool sounding song. But that's all I want to say about this song. So let's move on to the next. So track 6 is called Steven, and I'm inferring from the song that we're now in the mind of the woman pre-death, pre-suicide, and it sounds like she really, really loved this guy, Steven, that he was probably like the only source of happiness in her life. But of course, as we now know, it wasn't enough to prevent her from killing herself. But at the very least, this guy had a great impact on her life, you know, to some extent. So he was important, you know, even though he wasn't able to prevent the inevitable, he played an important role in her life. It was one of the few happy things about her life. So it's a short, kind of nice little song, you know. Not much else to talk about with it though, so we're gonna move along. And I'm skipping Beachy Head, track 7, because it's my least favorite song. There's not much to talk about it, or to talk about really with it. So we're just gonna skip along to track number 8, which is called All Eyes on You. So, All Eyes on You, I imagine, takes place in the past, pre-suicide, because, you know, all she says is, all eyes on you, all eyes are on you, I won't cry if you won't cry. So, this guy knows that his girlfriend is just totally depressed and probably cries a lot. And it really makes him sad. You know, it sounds like when she cries, he cries on some level, right? So, like, he loves this woman, but he can't fix her, and it's really impacting him emotionally as well. You know, when he cries, he cries. So it's, I mean, you know, there's not much else going on in this song, but it's a glimpse into their relationship. You know, so it's relatively important. But that's all I have to say about it. So let's move on to track number 9, called The Box. Yeah, so The Box is basically telling us a little bit more about this woman's mind state pre-suicide, right? She says, in a box in a bag, that's where I put the fun we had. So, in other words, she's saying that, like, all the fun they had together was not enough to make her happy. Like, it was buried so deep in such a dark place that it wasn't enough to help her, right? So, like, she had fun with this guy, but it just wasn't enough to overcome how sad she was. So this poor woman was, like, clearly just screwed up. Something must have happened. Like, perhaps she was molested or raped, or I don't know. It sounds like maybe something terrible happened to her, and she just couldn't recover from it. And as she says, you know, she says, I lost my face in a public place. So it sounds like she was pretty openly depressed. I mean, she was crying openly in the previous song, but, like, now she's saying she made a public incident somewhere where a lot of people, probably even a lot of people she knew, were, like, witnessing just how sad this woman is. So this poor woman, oh my goodness, she just wasn't able to to get the help she needed. But that's all I have to say about The Box, you know. So let's move on to track number 10, which is called Wedding Day.
So sorry I missed your wedding day. I didn't know just what to say. Except you don't look at her like you're looking at me. She'll never know that's the way it will be. So sorry I missed your wedding day. There's nothing left for me to say. Except you don't look at her like you're looking at me. She'll never know that's the way it will be.
Wow, yeah. Wedding Day sounds like a pretty important song in the story. I guess what happened is this guy was like seeing our main girl on the side-ish, and or even that like he was in an arranged marriage or something. You know, for some reason he chose to marry this other girl instead of our main girl, and our main girl got so sad about it that she killed herself, right? Because she says, "You don't love her like you love me, and you know, there's nothing left for me to say." So this woman was totally devastated by the fact that, like, for a reason we're not aware of, this guy ended up marrying some other girl, and I guess the girl was so unstable. You know, we're not sure why she is, but she was so unstable that it just literally pushed her right over the edge. So it's, you know, the reason for her suicide is not as crazy as we might have thought it would be, but it's relatively simple. She was just so brokenhearted that she didn't want to live without this guy. So yeah, that's a lot to that's a lot to think about for this guy, right? He probably is aware of that on some level, and so that's why, you know, like in the first song, he found love in a graveyard, and he's in love with this ghost because I guess he didn't realize that she loved him so much that she was willing to kill herself instead of living a life without him. And I guess that realization kind of like, you know, messed this guy up really mentally, right? Because he I guess is in love with a ghost. He probably divorced his girl that he married. And now he's just like living in misery because he's like, oh, I could have had this wonderful life with a girl who absolutely loved me, or something like that. That's what it sounds like. So geez Louise, there's so much drama in this story. You know, kind of a sad album, my goodness. But that's Wedding Day. So let's move on to track 11, which is called Veronica Falls, the name of the album. Let's check it out.
Darkest day you'll ever see, brightest light will shine for me when Veronica falls. When Veronica crest of a wave, death of a day, they will never know the truth.
Yeah, Veronica Falls. So we know what happened literally with this woman, how she killed herself. You know, it sounds like she jumped from a bridge, and, you know, because she mentions crest of a wave, death of a day, they will never know the truth. And, you know, at the beginning, he says, darkest day you'll ever see, brightest light will shine for me when Veronica falls. So I imagine the bright light is literally a searchlight from the police. So like maybe someone saw her jump and now they're bringing lights out trying to find her to see if she's alive. It kind of made me think of that, you know. So this poor woman, she was just so in love with this guy. I mean, oh my goodness, like this poor guy basically knows that he's the reason for this girl's death and is completely messing up his mind, right? He's just totally screwed up now because he's literally responsible for someone's death. So my goodness, what a dark album. I mean, there's another track, there's Come On Over, but it's not terribly interesting. It's mostly about the girl as a ghost, kind of like she's like next to this guy, kind of wishing that he'll kill himself as well and come on over, right, to the other side, so to speak. So I mean, that's the album for you. That's Veronica Falls. It's just a really depressing album, even though the sound of it is kind of like upbeat and poppy-ish, you know. Yeah, so geez Louise. I hope you guys liked it or found it interesting. You know, feel free as always to comment with your thoughts. And if you enjoyed the video, please like and subscribe. It'd really help out. I like making these. But that's all I have to say about it. So yeah, Veronica Falls, check them out, and have a good one.